Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 3 vs 3 on Pegasus Bridge, and in this one I'm going to be playing with the 101st Airborne. I'm playing with Haymaker and Val, who are using the 3rd Canadian and the 4th Armoured, and then I'm playing against Double Dark, Thraxar and WG for Manly, who are using the 12th SS Panzer, 17th SS Panzer Grenadier and the 116th Panzer. So I managed to convince Val to have a game. Haymaker helped me out in doing that, and we are kind of a stacked team in this, but we played for some fun and we had some good games, so I'm going to be recording all of those for you, and it was just good to play with Val again on Steel Division. So yeah, here we are, having our game. I'm going to set it to my point of view throughout this one, and I am going to be taking this left town. This is ideal really for the 101st. If I used like smoke correctly, I could probably move up with infantry quite nicely and just take the entire town very convincingly. However, in this one I'm going to be focusing on the M1, how it's HE support, and I also wanted to try out a lot of Air Force with the 101st, so that's kind of what I was going for. Meanwhile, we're going to have Val in the mid with his 4th Armoured, and on the right side we have Haymaker with his 3rd Canadian. Now the 3rd Canadian actually suits his right side quite nicely because it does have the Stormtroopers, which are quite good for contesting these forest areas. As well as that, he does have the Ram and so on, so he can take care of enemy armoured targets and create quite a nice choke here, which should hold the right flank very well. But basically the idea is that I'm going to push up to this town on the left side, try and secure it as much as I can, then we'll sort of try and push up through the buildings here. Let's have a look at some of the units I'm getting down. So we're starting off with an AT gun here. We've also got an AT gun on the right side. I'm going to do the normal trick of where you drop off an AT gun here and kind of deny this road. And that's going to be accompanied by recon. And I also choose to bring up a command unit there as well. I've got a command unit for the one on the left side. I've also got a couple of these MGs, a couple of 50 cals. One is going to be moving towards this church. And in this church it can really utilize the 800 meter range, which is perfect. And then we're going to be having another 50 cal over on the left side to sort of cover this opening to stop any units from just coming straight down the road. So that was the plan. Let's just speed it up. We'll get the rest of the units down, and it's going to include basically more airborne engineers and airborne rifles as well. That was pretty much the composition, with one M1 howitzer at the start to not only provide HE support but also smoke, although I'm going to admit from the start that I did very much forget to use smoke with my howitzers throughout this game. Here we go, getting the AT gun into position, the Jeep to follow up, and we also have a recon squad coming as well. The recon squad's just good so that it actually allows us to see down the road. The M3 gun's going for a cheeky shot onto one of these trucks, and if I can get the kill then that would be lovely, but it just fires completely off target even though it did have 2-star veterancy. Now we have the half tracks coming down the road. The AT gun, however, going to be losing line of sight as they do pull the half tracks off the road to avoid them being hit by the M3 gun, which is exactly what you kind of want to do with this M3 gun at the start. You want to deny them that road completely. Over on this left side, SPW221's moved up, dropped off some recon. I'm hitting that with the 50 cal, however, so that's going to be absolutely fine. 50 cals are very good at dealing with those low armoured targets. I've also got a Pathfinder and an airborne rifles in the middle, which kind of is assisting Val as he pushes forwards. Val started with 2 Hellcats in phase A. And my other little push is here. Like to accompany the M3 gun and make sure it has command, I also brought up the airborne rifles and Pathfinders to take advantage of the same thing. So these are going to be pushing through this left side tree line just so that I don't get attacked from the right side. Maybe we can sneak up into these buildings. We've also got the airborne rifles approaching from this direction, covered by the 50 cal. It's a shame that the 50 cal can't get a shot over this tree line here to attack the Panzer Grenadiers in this building, but airborne rifles, they do a good job at that sort of range, against Panzer Grenadiers. So you can see there those Panzer Grenadiers being forced to fall back from Thraxar. In the mid, Pathfinder's continuing to move up. Bantam did manage to get away from that AT gun, and we now have a B-26B-10 Marauder coming in from Val. Over on the right side, Haymaker's just sort of stabilised. Not too much going on here. But over on the left, there is a little bit of a push coming down. Panzer Grenadiers and two of the half-tracks here with the anti-air on them have pushed up. But that's okay. Now I'm having to start to deal with this 170mm off-map, which is actually really frustrating throughout this first part of this game. It's interesting to see there that we both lightly invested on this far left side, a player being allocated almost the entire town side, which often actually isn't the case. Normally you have one person sort of here, one person sort of covering the town on this side, plus the mid, this is for the enemies, and then you have one person cover the right road. But in this case, it worked out that it was just 1v1 on this left side, and that was quite good for me, as it allowed me to get the most cost efficiency out of my units. So bringing up some more recon now, some more Pathfinders, we got some Airborne engineers as well to assist the Airborne rifles in securing this sort of compound area. And then after that, once my recon arrives, I can spot the enemy and continue to move forwards. Got my M1 howitzer, trying to go for some shots towards where I thought the IG was. Airborne rifles moving through here to take care of the 221, because that's trying to sneak around and kill off my M22. I don't think they really realised that my airborne rifles were there, so I'm going to use them to take that out and recover myself some ground. We're currently sitting at the 54% territory lead, especially with Val really taking control of the centre. We've managed to take care of the AT gun there thanks to a bombing strike from Haymaker, so that worked out really nicely. There is an IG-18 in this field area. That's going to get absolutely hammered by the 30 cals of the airborne rifles and the M1 Garans there, so that's going to die very quickly. Airborne engineers got a couple shots onto the spear troop. Pathfinder's going to be coming up there to try and take out the spear troop. And 50 cals also on target though, so I was hoping that that spear troop would not last very long, but as you can see, it took a lot of punishment. Now my M1 howitzer is firing at the IG-18. Got my M3 gun on target of that unit over there. And that's actually going to pin down those Panzer Grenadiers, which was good. My M1 howitzer just unfortunately not really doing the job. Now Thraxar has brought in a 81mm mortar, and as my Pathfinders move up on this left side, we are going to reveal some Aufklärer. The IG-18 is proving to be a little bit of an issue there. I probably should have dodged it to the left or just smoked it off, but Pathfinder's going to be pinned down. However, these airborne rifles able to hammer the speed troop quite nicely. Got the M22 coming over to the right side. That's going to give more command to the airborne rifles, airborne engineers and so on. Also provide me with something to kill off these 251-17s. Further to that, I've also brought up another airborne rifles unit. Now the Pathfinder does get killed off by the IG-18. Shouldn't have really let that happen, but was probably focusing elsewhere whilst it was. Both the Hellcats have moved up here, so it's Bantam and the Humber Mark III. Going to be bumping into a spear troop that was hiding in plain sight. And they're not going to last very long. I was very surprised that these Hellcats weren't firing, honestly, considering technically they're very much spotted, but without return fire on, it's not going to do anything. I've brought up a second M1 howitzer, and I've now got a Mustang on the field. I'm actually sending that over to the left side to try and help up with the bombing strikes onto these PaK-38s. If we can get rid of these PaK-38s, Normandy here is actually going to have a really hard time. My Mustang was sort of retargeted onto the new PaK-38 just as he came in, but was a little bit too late, so he ended up flying over and getting stunned by the AA that they're now bringing in. Airborne rifles being forced to fall back there. Enemy off maps really causing me some problems, stopping me from just advancing basically. Not necessarily actually doing a lot of damage, it's just slowing me down, which is a good delaying tactic for if you've got a division that requires time to build up, but in the case of Thraxar and his 17th SS, you should be able to use smoke to advance onto my airborne rifles and airborne engineers quite nicely, rather than relying on the AT or artillery, sorry, like he is. So my M3 gun did go down to the enemy mortar. My M1 howitzers are moving up though, and you can see that I am giving them new targets all the time. Just got to try and get rid of their sort of static targets, so the 81mm mortar, the IG-18, any packs basically, and that should help us move forwards, because those mortars can be a real big annoyance. Boy to Firefly is going to be taking on one of Val's Hellcats and winning that engagement quite simply. Over on the left side, airborne rifles destroy some Panzerschreck for me.
For God's sake.
But yeah, not too bad. Val's M18 Hellcat now on return fire. Trying to wait for the Boy to Firefly to make the wrong move. Maybe he can take it out. But never mind. Second Hellcat goes down for Val.
I'm out. Over.
So I bring over my Mustang just to bomb over on this left side. Got an engagement between the airborne rifles and the Panzer Grenadiers there. However, I don't want to necessarily let the IG hammer the airborne rifles, so I'm going to be dodging away from that as much as I can. They're not going to surrender because of the airborne leader there. Now Val is bunching up quite a lot here, and I was suggesting that they do spread out quite a little bit, and I think he had intended to, but due to them getting pinned down, it just wasn't the case. Unfortunately, M22 is able to provide a little bit of covering fire there onto the Panzer Grenadiers. 50 cal on the left side, hammering those Panzer Grenadiers there as well. On this side, Pathfinders are helping deal with some of these Panzer Grenadiers. And well, it's just a couple of 6-pounders moving up, which have ended up destroying both the Panzer II and the Boy to Firefly in the center. There's actually 3 AT guns here now from Haymaker. Actually 4, make that 4. 4 AT guns, that's how much you need to kill a Boy to Firefly apparently. But 54% still in our favour. 10 minutes has passed and we're now in phase B. IG-18 is going to be taking out my M3 gun. I'm going to try and fall it back here, but the last shot was already fired. Those IG-18s have a hell of a rate of fire.
Yes, sir.
So now I've brought up a third M1 howitzer. And honestly, I probably could have been more aggressive and played around my infantry more, but I really wanted to play the 101st in a playstyle that actually left you with a lot more infantry availability because you're focusing on other resources. So, for example, these M1 howitzers and off-map and airplanes, all that good stuff. Going to be trying to rely on that as we move forwards, and then sort of try and keep my infantry alive and use that to push, rather than just bring in infantry upon infantry to sort of overlap each other as I move forwards. And that can generally lead to, like, enemy off-map, for example, just killing a lot of your stuff. And I already know that he is focusing on using off-map since he's had one from the start of the game. So I don't want to necessarily funnel into that with as much infantry as possible, which is why I sort of chose to continue with the style I'd thought of before the game even started. So yeah, you're going to see a lot more planes coming out at some point, but we do have the off-map artillery on the field. My 4th M1 howitzer has arrived as well, so that's going to be continuing to help me out with static targets, at least pinning them down. For example, here the MG42 is actually being hit by the M1 howitzer, although B-26B Marauder comes in, takes out the mortar, that's good. M22 does have line of sight onto the MG and is going to take him out eventually. Now airborne rifles did end up surrendering there. Panzer Grenadiers getting a little bit too close to comfort, but we're really starting to make a dent in the enemy's forces, especially with Val's B-26B Marauders flying about and pinning down units left, right and centre. Really doing a fantastic job with those. I've also now got my off-map coming in, and as you can see, it's in a pretty nice location. The idea was to obviously get rid of the Panzergrenadiers in the way and push forwards my own airborne rifles. So that's what I'm kind of looking to do here. On this left side, I'm being hammered by Thraxars and Nebelwerfer 42, so it's only fair that I slam him back with some artillery of my own. I'm going to be using that Mustang to take out the Panzergrenadiers, keep them out of this tree line, just so that we can basically choose what comes across here. Now you might have seen down here my M22 Locust tried to engage the 259 at close range, actually got the first hit, but it wasn't enough to get the kill. So the 20mm actually ended up doing the job. Now reinforcements came in there, got absolutely slammed by the 357mm or 356mm off map. You see that did plenty of damage. Val's M8 Cavalry as well has come in, and that takes out one of the 259s. Airborne rifles going to be forcing that one to fall back, and therefore has a second chance to get the Zukron target. And further to that, we now have a Wasp Mark II coming up from Haymaker to provide some napalm. Now, it's a good job here that this M8 Cavalry has a 50 cal and is 2 stars, because it was able to pin down the Pak 38 before it fired a second shot, which was absolutely spectacular. Over here, my 50 cal is actually able to kill some Panzer Grenadiers that are pushing in my direction. And you can see Haymaker's Typhoon has been brought in once again for another bombing strike there, which was doing a great job. And now we have another off map on the way. Val's joining me in putting on as much pressure as possible. He's using his rifles in combination with the armoured leader there in order to push through. I would advance onto these Panzer Grenadiers with the airborne rifles, but ideally we just want to let the artillery do the job. Val actually realises that he moved his rifles a bit too far up there, and therefore is going to wait for my off map to land. So these Panzer Grenadiers are actually moving over to the left side, which was rather unfortunate for them, because as the off map comes in, it's going to do a hell of a lot of damage to the infantry that remains. Both Panzer Grenadier squads going down, one Pioneer left over, this Panzer Grenadier on the right side getting pinned down, and that pretty much leaves a massive hole in the enemy defense. And Val is ready and waiting, along with Haymaker, to push all the way through. Haymaker having a bunch of troops here that can take advantage of that big old hole that has just occurred. Val also bringing up his own infantry. I have a 50 cal coming over to the left side to reinforce, and all the while I've got my M1 howitzers finding themselves targets. I've also brought up this M20 Command now to make them 2-star veterancy, so they have a bit of a higher rate of fire. There we go, Haymaker breaking on through. Val pushing on with his M5A1 as well. Doing a fantastic job with that. Unfortunately, Haymaker's Wasp taking a lot of damage from the IG-18. Looks like my M1 howitzers and the M8 cavalry there are going to be able to help out quite a bit. Now we have the first of a few B-26B Marauders coming in. This is actually the one with the 8 10 power bombs. And it's going for a really nice bombing strike onto the reinforcements that have been brought up onto the left side here by Thraxar. Bombs away. Straight on top of the Pioneers. Lovely stuff. You can see the 50 cal that I've dropped out here actually ends up killing off the off map on the left side, which was brilliant. And I still have my off map left over. I originally fast moved it over to the left side, but I thought it'd probably be better off used to the top left of this town. So we're going to be moving it back up there instead.
Looking for targets.
As well as that, I do have some reinforcing infantry on the way up there. And I'm pretty stabilised on this left side. Just got the M1 howitzers firing away, softening up the targets so that my teammates Val and Haymaker can push on through. And like I said before, usually you'd probably be a lot more aggressive with infantry, but I just didn't feel like it was necessary. There were obviously times at the start of this game that you may have noticed where I could have used smoke, but I was so focused on using the M1 howitzers for HE that I kind of just didn't. Now Ju-87 there getting away with murder as it comes in and kills off the Wasp. I've got a Thunderbolt coming in to take out the 81mm mortar on this left side. And that's going to definitely help me out. Stops any counter battery. And yeah, clears up a lot of units. And now my off map here. Going to be hammering many of these units as I can. The Wasp almost going all the way through there, but the IG-18 getting that kill just as it was needed. Now Val's Lightning, that's going to drop some bombs onto the enemy AA and is going to kill one of them. The Focke-Wulf 190 is actually going to be going for the other Lightning, however, and allows me to get on the tail of him with the Mustang. And as you can see, the Mustang, lovely turning circle. Ooh, that's the Nebelwerfer 42. And is going to be able to get the kill. So Focke-Wulf down. And B-26B Marauder from Val takes out an FK. Lovely stuff. We're starting to break through pretty damn hard. In the middle here we have a Pack 40 that we need to get rid of, as it is hitting Haymaker's Ram 2. And Haymaker, well, he's basically set up a defense on this right side and has just decided to help me and Val push through, which has worked out quite well so far. It's coming in with the bombing strike there, trying to get that to kill off the Pack 40 there. Typhoon, however, pretty damn quick. And, well, Val's bringing in his B-26B Marauder. And he's going to be trying to shoot down the ME-109. Now, generally the B-26B Marauders, they can make enemy fighters fall back, if it's just one of them, pretty easily. They just turn around in circles. The ME-109 can't fire at me, or fire at the B-26B. And then the B-26B can just use its tail guns to do the job. Here what I'm going to end up doing is bombing the AA on that left side, which is going to let up the AA pressure quite a bit and allow me to come in with more airstrikes. Now that's the beauty of the 101st, and I don't think it's something that people necessarily think about too much, is actually using like bombers to take out AA. The B-26B Marauders, it takes a lot to make them fall back. So if there's only 1 or 2 units of AA, you can definitely do the job. Now Ju-88 coming in there and destroying the Ram 2, well, not destroying, but making them fall back, the Ram 2 and the Priest Double D there. Quite lucky that the Priest Double D didn't get destroyed because it is open top and bombing strikes can definitely do a lot of damage.
Ready to pound them, sir.
You can see my M1 howitzers still firing away. One of my Jeeps has actually run out of ammunition completely now. I've got one coming back from the church that was resupplying this 50 cal that had pretty much run out of ammunition after sitting in that Churchill game, chipping on enemy infantry squads. Now for some reason, my Pathfinder squad ends up getting hit by some rocket artillery, which was rather rude, considering there was nothing else really nearby. But here we are, Mustang hanging about. We've got B-26B Marauder coming in.
Waiting for action.
And if this ME-109 goes for the B-26B Marauder, then I'm going to be able to get on the tail of it with the Mustang. Now, you probably think it's quite weird that I'm using the B-26B to attack the ME-109, but it can use its tail gun to help pin that down. But the Mustang does the job nonetheless, and I get a really nice bombing strike here onto the Pioneers. Now the Pioneers did already release their grenades, so they killed off the Stormtroopers, which was unfortunate. I am going to just try and run these chaps down if I can. I do manage to get in range, and we get the surrender, which is great. So that's what I was looking for. Just sort of relieve the pressure on this little town, maintain our +2 at 60% territory. Now we've been hit on this left side again by the Nebelwerfer 42. But that hasn't actually done too much this time. It kind of dodged around all of the buildings, which was pretty lucky for me. And my M1 howitzers, well, they're still firing away. I just find that nobody really tries to counter these very much. If I've got 4 M1 howitzers, that's 400 points invested in artillery. You could very easily take that out with a couple of airstrikes, especially considering that I haven't really been investing in AA. And that's pretty obvious considering they have had a lot of planes in. The only issue for them is that I do have Mustangs, and I have showed my hand there. And the other thing is that Val does have the B-26B Marauders, which are just absolute nightmares for the enemy planes. So we take out Armada here. I also took out an IG with the M1 howitzers. I didn't get a kill pop up, so I kept them going for a little bit afterwards. Typhoon's Haymaker, or Haymaker's Typhoon, sorry. Let me force to fall back there. And I'm going to save that by showing my presence with my Mustang and my Thunderbolt. That Thunderbolt going to be coming across, going for the shot onto the enemy AT gun there. I'm going to be getting the kill, which was beautiful. Then I have the bombing strike coming in. However, I don't want to get caught out by the ME-109. We're going to be avoiding that engagement. Enemy Panzergrenadier going down there, and Val's M5A1, that takes out a Panzer IV at close range before a Ju-87 comes in and absolutely hammers it. Now Mustang does engage the ME-109. But as you can see, second plane coming in there from Haymaker, Spitfire Mark 9 going to get on target and get the shot. Lovely stuff. So 2-star BF-109 taken out. Unfortunately, this Stuart, it did its job, but isn't going to be surviving too much longer. I'm now coming in with the Mustang. That's actually trying to pin down the AA on the left side. My B-26B Marauder, that comes in with a free artillery strike onto the enemy Pioneers here, and we're going to clean those up. Lovely stuff. That's going to make way for my reinforcing infantry to arrive. Going to be some glider leader and the airborne engineers. I think they were just standard engineers, not airborne engineers. But either way, engineers, and they're going to provide their 20 HE power grenades. Thraxar's going to have something to say about this though, as he does come up with his Ju-88 and drop its 2 30 HE power bombs smack bang on top of my glider rifles that weren't in cover. I also accidentally let my engineers drive into the napalm that was put down by the Nebelwerfer, so they're burning to death currently, which was a rather harsh mistake, I guess. But Val now going to be able to deal with this Focke-Wulf 190 quite easily thanks to the B-26B Marauder, and I'm going to be coming in with a Mustang to try and get the kill there. However, Haymaker's 2 Crusader AAs with the 2-star veterancy going to get there first. Throughout the entire game, the M1 howitzers firing away. It has started to make me some progress on this left side. Also got the bomber now coming in to try and hit the enemy supply. Unfortunately, we didn't really get a bomb on target there, otherwise I probably would have killed off the Nebelwerfer 42. But you can see I'm trying pretty hard to take out these Pioneers, and I know that there's really not too much left on this left side. A couple of cavalry scouts there coming up for Val. I'm bringing in another B-26B. That's going to be going for the 8-10 HE power bombs as well. And how this did not get the kill, I do not know. But I think it was mainly due to this SDKF Z72 actually doing enough morale damage to make the bomber miss. And one thing that I did notice, because I had spotted or knew that there was an AT hit or AA hit at this point. I noticed that with my bomber going overhead, the AA had actually run out of ammunition. So that was something that I definitely could deal with now. Unfortunately, Ju-87 from Thraxar gets the kill onto the Firefly. But Val's B-26B Marauders not going to have any of that. And I've also got my P-51 coming in as well to help out. But Val ends up getting the kill nonetheless. And that's one less Ju-87 to worry about. So currently at a +2, 61% territory lead, doing very well. We managed to push the Pathfinder through on this left side, and knowing that that's an AA vehicle, I'm actually bringing in the Thunderbolt to take it out. I know it's out of ammunition, so should be able to get a decent strike. Well, they're actually going for the secondary AA. I'm not even getting the stun there. It's breaking through on the left side anyway. Pathfinder's leading the way, showing that there's pretty much nothing there. Second Thunderbolt comes in. That's going to be killing off that SDKFZ 10-4. It was actually heading for the Opal Blitz munition, I think, to reload, but didn't get there in time. And that's going to be a clean kill. Lovely stuff. Engineer's going to be moving forwards to assist Haymaker as he moves up. One of the Ram 2s does go down to a Stug 3. However, the other Ram 2 going to be returning the favour there. We're now going to see M21 mortar carrier come in, and we've got the GMCs from Val firing away. They're actually putting pain down onto where the AA was, but that's gone now. What we need to be dealing with is this Nebelwerfer 42. And for some reason, this Nebelwerfer 42 managed to survive for the majority of the game, so good job by Thraxar for keeping that alive. But only 45 seconds left on the clock now until victory with the +2. Another Panzer IV going to be going down there to the M1 gun of Val, and I'm taking advantage of a lack of AA to get some bombs onto some Panzergrens there. Also bringing in the last of my airstrikes, B-26B Marauder on that left side, this one with the 25 HE power bombs. Finally going to be killing off the Nebelwerfer 42 with the Opal Blitz munition. Another B-26B Marauder going for the bombing strike onto the SDKFZ 7-2. And yeah, pretty good job all round with those bombing strikes. Loads of AA being invested on this left side. I didn't really have anything necessarily to deal with that, except from the M10, which is now rolling up with only 5 seconds left on the clock. We're not going to really get there in time to start cleaning up those AA vehicles, and that is going to be a total victory after 30 minutes and 27 seconds. And if we jump to the team tab, you can see that we did pretty well in this one. 1,685 kills to 795 losses. Val doing a fantastic job with the 4th Armoured, 2,300 kills to 850 losses. And Haymaker going slightly negative, however played much more of a defensive role. Did push through, quite aggressive in the mid with us, but I think it was mainly due to like the loss of his tanks and so on, that he really got damaged quite a lot throughout that game. The Ju-87 punishing him quite a lot. Thraxar put up a valiant effort on the left side, but in the end his teammates really letting him down. In terms of kills, we've got the Airborne rifles getting a bunch of kills at the start there. Mustang Bomber killing off Panzer Grenadiers and a Focke-Wulf 190 and the ME-109. The Naval Battery got a huge list of kills, and then it sort of varied between my other planes, and the M10 came in at the end and got a couple of infantry squads as well. In terms of losses, well, it was all very spread out. That Ju-88 really stopped the push from coming through with my glider leader and those engineers. And we did lose the Locus early on to the 259, and the mortars were taking out my M3 guns, which was kind of annoying. We also lost the Ford GPA OP to the Ju-87, although that had used all of its strikes at that point in the game. Now, in terms of what actually happened in this game, I feel like it was like Double Duck was kind of in the mid with Thraxar. Like Thraxar was obviously holding me off, and Double Duck was trying to deal with Val's Hellcats. But WG for Manley wasn't really pushing the right side where Haymaker was defending, or if he wasn't doing it hard enough, because you can see how little kill participation he had throughout this game, and that's probably the biggest issue with his score. He may be positive, but didn't really have an impact on the game, and that's probably what lost it for them in the end. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I thought it was a fun look at sort of the artillery air doctrine of the 101st. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.